We're now going to talk about some of the key methods in Java FutureTask. And there's a bunch of them. Most of them are methods that come from the underlying interfaces that it implements, such as Runnable and such as Future. So no surprise there. So it also contains, in addition to the methods it implements from Future and from Runnable, it also provides a constructor. And as you can see, the constructor is passed a callable. And you probably remember callable when we talked about the Java Executor service, because callable had the ability to be called and it would return a result. So we're going to pass in a callable to the future task. And what the future task is going to do is it's going to go ahead and stash away that callable parameter. And then later, it's going to have the run hook method, which we'll talk about next, call the call method on the callable in order to perform the task operation and stash the result away so we can get it in the future. So the run method, which of course is the one that's been started when you put this into a thread in the thread pool, or you just give it to a thread directly. The run method is just going to forward to the call method on the callable and then get the result back and do a few other magic things to perform the semantics of future task. Since we implement the future interface, we have the isCanceled method that checks to see if the future task has been canceled, and the done method to see if everything's completed normally. You can also cancel a future task, and you can indicate to it that you want it to be canceled right away if you want to interrupt it if it's running, or if you say, well, I want it canceled, but let it finish first, and then I'll ignore the results. So there's a couple of different parameters you can use to do this. And then you've got the get method that will block until the task is done with its asynchronous computations. And there's also a future, a get method that will take timeout values. So you can say, wait around for a little bit, wait around for a second or a minute or an hour or whatever. And you can also say, here's a 0. So just check to see if it's got a result. And if not, return null, otherwise return the result. So it's basically, you can use it like polling. And then the last method it has, which is one that the future task adds above and beyond what it gets from Runnable and from the future interface, is the done hook method. And this is the hook method that's called back in run if the call hook method that's invoked in the context of run is successful. So if we succeed in getting a result back when call is called, then the done hook method is called. And the reason for having this done method, you can see it's defined to be a no-op actually, but you can override it by inheriting from future task, by extending future task, and you can define what done does. And the typical reason to do this is to invoke some kind of completion callback. And we'll see that that's exactly the way things work with the Executor completion service. So the Executor completion service basically takes advantage of the done hook method that comes along with future task in order to be able to take the result and add it to the completion queue. So if you go back and watch the videos on the implementation and the internals of the underlying Executor completion service, you'll see how future task and the done hook method get used in that case. It's very clever. So that's the end of the overview of the key methods in Java FutureTask. Again, a fairly straightforward thing. Probably the most important pieces to remember are that you pass a callable in, and that's going to be the thing that provides the future task with its task. And there's this done hook method that you can use to do something after the future task has completed and you've got the result and you want to do something with it, like put it on a completion queue as the Executor completion framework, Executor completion service framework does.